The concept for this video is really simple, and it started with a simple question. What would it look like if you fired a real gun down the barrel of an airsoft gun? It's not necessarily a question of what would happen, because that's probably pretty self-explanatory, but what would it look like and exactly what kind of damage would we see? So, to match up with this Desert Eagle, I bought the cheapest model one I could find, which in this case was this airsoft gun. But after buying that one off of eBay, things got a little out of hand and I ended up with a pile of some of the cheapest airsoft guns that I could find. Being incredibly cheap means they're pretty much entirely plastic, which is very good from a safety perspective. It also means they should blow up pretty nicely. 4 of these airsoft guns I already had sitting around and were either very cheap or already broken. And the first thing on the chopping block is this Galaxy spring pistol. I'm not exactly sure how long I've had this, probably around a decade, and if I remember correctly, I paid 99 cents for it. It appears to be some kind of a small-scale version of a Mark 23. Other than pretty much just the springs inside, it is 100% plastic. It also has this cute little laser. It's honestly not a terrible laser, but we did take the batteries out of it in order to shoot it. We're almost ready to get to the shooting, but before that, we went through a can of silver spray paint and painted a lot of the guns. This was done after we took close-up looks at the guns, which is why they're still black in those clips. The silver paint adds a little bit of flair, which helps them match with some of the other guns, and it also picks up nicely on camera. Then we came up with a simple and secure way to hold the guns and took them out to the farm. And this little pistol will be going up against another little pistol, a Walther P22 fired by Neil.
I'm gonna test fire in the woods, make sure it works. Alright, cool, we're ready. It works. 3, 2, 1.
I'd say our first attempt was pretty successful. But we're just starting out. That was a 22LR and we've got a long way to go. And next up is this UKArms replica of an M92. This thing is cheap and terrible, and it actually started to fall apart on me a little bit while filming this close-up. And it took some, mildly aggressive reassembly to get it back together. It's very accurate to the size of the real one, although most of the controls are just molded into the plastic slide and frame. And back on the farm, we'll go ahead and remove the remnants of the last gun and get this one clamped into place. These exhaust clamps did a fantastic job of holding the guns in place. And for this gun, well, it only made sense to put it up against another M92, except this one is made by Beretta. And holding it is Mike, who's helping take care of the scourge of cheap plastic airsoft pistols.
3, 2, 1, fire!
Going through the high-speed video frame by frame, you can see that jacketed bullet go straight down the barrel and come out the back of the gun. So that 9mm was pretty cool, but how about we step it up again to a 45 ACP? And for that, what better choice is there than a pair of 1911s? For the airsoft part of this matchup, we have another plastic UKArms spring pistol. It appears to be based off of a double-stack 2011 pistol, but it still matches up pretty well to the standard 1911. Although something about this top-hinged trigger in a 1911 just looks so wrong. And like the others, the rest of the controls are just molded into the plastic. Like the others, we painted it silver and clamped it in place, and here's Rob to take care of it.
3, 2, 1, fire! I got hit with a PB.
Once again, going frame by frame through the high speed, we can see that jacketed bullet went right down the barrel and came out the back of the gun, although it's been deflected a bit more than the 9mm was. And now we're back with the pistol that started off this whole concept. This Desert Eagle replica has an aluminum inner barrel, but pretty much everything else is still plastic. Of all the guns we're destroying, I kinda feel bad about this one because while it was very cheap and it certainly feels cheap, it's kinda cool. Or maybe I just really like Desert Eagles. Either way, this pistol with its weird safety and clicky-clacky hammer is next in line. Here's one of my favorite features: if you twist the orange tip, it actually starts spreading the barrel apart. Also, I don't know what kind of plastic this thing is made out of, but it's definitely the creakiest airsoft gun I've ever heard. The trademarks on the slide of this Desert Eagle call it a .44 Magnum, and since we have multiple barrels for our Desert Eagle, we'll go ahead and shoot it with the .44. And once we got it painted silver and clamped in place, I crouched down and actually managed to press the barrel of the airsoft gun into the barrel of the real one, and we were ready to fire.
Yep. 3, 2, 1!
Frame by frame, we see something that might be the bullet tumbling real hard out the top of the gun, but it's really hard to say. And with that pistol blown to smithereens, we have one more handgun to shoot. This is an HFC knockoff of the Raging Bull called the Savaging Bull. It seems to be sized most closely to a .357 Magnum, although the shell cases it uses are closer to a .44. This is a compressed gas airsoft revolver and one that I've had for well over a decade. The outer barrel, body, and cylinder are plastic and are broken in pretty much every way possible. This thing has already been glued back together once or twice, and it's well beyond the point of repair. This has more metal parts inside of it, but not enough that I think we really have to worry. We'll also be using this plastic magazine for it instead of the brass shell casings. And even though there's a bit of a size difference, it'll be going up against the .454 Taurus Raging Bull. Because of all the damage, we epoxied this one together before painting it and getting it ready to shoot. Unfortunately, when we went to do it, we had some issues. The Taurus revolver was light striking with Hornady ammo. It's only been fired a few times with that ammo, and it did have an issue or two before, but nothing this bad. It's had no issues with .45 Colt ammo, which makes me think it's due to the primers that Hornady is using. Either way, the ammo was firing on the second or third hit, which made this a little bit difficult.
Hang on, I've just got to fire.
I ended up firing the revolver in double action, which I don't have a tremendous amount of practice with, and it fired a little bit earlier than I wanted.
3, 2, 1.
Did you shoot?
Yeah.
I think I got it. I don't think I got it. I think I hit it right on one.
Unfortunately, this meant we missed the first few frames of the high speed, so we'll have to live with what we got. So, despite some technical difficulties, eventually the Raging Bull was able to dispatch its knockoff. And that's the most powerful handgun we have access to, but we have two even more powerful long guns that we can resort to. And the first target will be this airsoft pump shotgun that's been kicking around for 10 to 15 years. It's also, shall we say, very broken. The fake magazine tube is actually metal and has an iron weight inside of it. We'll take that out for the sake of safety and epoxy the rest of the gun back together in a slightly creative way. This was another airsoft gun that was broken beyond repair and destined for the trash either way. So, to reduce the size of the trash, Rob took aim with a Mossberg Shockwave loaded with a 12-gauge slug.
3, 2, 1.
That Slug absolutely obliterated that airsoft shotgun, and there's not a whole lot left. But we still had one last airsoft rifle left, so we figured we'd continue ramping it up. This is an airsoft replica of a G36, although it's in something like a 2/3 scale. It's another spring gun, and pretty much everything on it is made of plastic. It can be disassembled for some reason, and the stock does fold. This has also been sitting around for quite a few years, and it's time to get rid of it. And to do that in spectacular fashion, here's Sean with a 30-06 Remington 760.
3, 2, 1.
There's nothing left.
Even going frame by frame on the high speed, blink and you'll miss it because this thing absolutely disintegrates. We were able to find pieces of the gun as far as 30 feet from where it had been. It took some money, time, and labor, but I finally had the answer to the question I had at the start. And to answer that question of what it would look like, well, it's exactly what you'd expect. Plastic gun, go boom. It's a short answer, but at the end of it, a satisfying one.